Hi, this is Dr. Pike again for Leading with Communication, LDR350, and we're going to cover Chapter 7, which is Storytelling Like a Leader. You're in your fourth week of this course, and I hope you're enjoying it thus far. The authentic leader discovers their own voice and their own leadership style. They need to know who they are, and they need to be able to share that with others. Storytelling is a needed leadership competency. There are many different ways to tell a story, but it's really important that you generate interest when you're trying to impart information and trying to get buy-in from those subordinates when you're the leader. Leaders reframe their experiences. They learn how to embody and perform that message that they're trying to convey. And then with articulate, powerful, and inspirational messages, they enthuse and guide others, or at least they hope to. Leaders need to be effective wordsmiths. They need to be able to tell stories that help make sense of their goals, share their history, and motivations of their lives. They wish to convey their identity and beliefs and make positive, lasting impressions on their followers. Stories need to capture the organization's culture, create meanings, share experiences of the followers and the stakeholders. The leader's story. A leader needs to see him or herself as the organization's voice and be prepared to tell the right story at the right time. Being able to translate thoughts and ideas into words that others understand it's a very essential leadership skill. Executive coaches Richard Maxwell and Robert Dickman state, "A story is a fact wrapped up in an emotion that compels us to take an action that transforms our world." Examples include President Bush at Ground Zero, shortly after 9/11. President Bush standing on the deck of the aircraft carrier in a flight jacket declaring our war against Iraq was over and claiming victory. First, a well-told story reflects a leader's passion or sense of purpose and rallies receivers to participate with the leader in creating a better future. Second, a well-told story supplies an antagonist or villain, someone evil or a problem that everyone can agree on that threatens the future of the company or organization. Third, it offers up a hero or protagonist who will conquer that villain or offer a solution. Fourth, it creates an awakening in the hero and receivers an aha moment, an opportunity for learning, and the culmination of what the world needs to become a better place. Finally, it reveals a need for change or an opportunity for transformation. Storytelling requires readers to develop an awareness of themselves and others and reflect on the purposes they want for their stories to serve. They build connections that impart information, facilitate learning, spark insights, which precipitate action. Now, I can tell you that Peter Senge, an author, he authored the book, The Fifth Discipline, The Art and Language of the Learning Organization, stated that when people understand each other, it's easier for commonality of direction to emerge. Stephen Denning, the author of The Secret Language of Leadership, stated that stories you tell when leading can be used to spark action, communicate who you are, transmit ideas, communicate who the organization is, share knowledge, and lead people into the future. It's important to understand the leader's language. Authors Warren Bennis and Joan Goldsmith wrote, "Leadership is a transaction between the leader and follower. The stories leaders tell can help cement this transaction and leader-follower connection. For followers to perceive that a leader is credible, the leader must communicate like a leader." But what does this mean? They have a heightened sensitivity to language. They are wordsmiths. They choose words that add vividness and force to their ideas. This effectively steers followers towards the leader's goal. It strengthens the image that followers have of them. It enhances their ability to inspire. Language tools. The effective leader will develop language sensitivity. They avoid words that anger, insult, demean, or devalue others, calling others derogatory names or intimidating them, or using profanity can produce unwanted or negative outcomes. Avoid using cliches, words or phrases that at one time were effective, but due to overuse have now lost their impact. For example, instead of someone asking you to think outside the box, it might be better to ask them to view the situation from an alternative perspective. You want to keep it simple. Einstein stated, "If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough." Insecure leaders rely on complex language, and most effective leaders forsake the word armor, the speech that cloaks the thought or appeals to narrow audiences, preferring instead to use focused and slang, jargon-free language. The confident leader uses language that is free of technobabble, gobbledygook in favor of speech that is direct, concise, and simple. You want to make strategic word choices. Followers are not dictionaries, and most will respond to connotative or subjective meaning of words and not their denotative or dictionary meanings. By recognizing the feelings and personal associations that a chosen word might stimulate in the receiver, leaders become better able to control the perceptions, conceptions, and reflections of the receivers and steer them towards the response that they desire. Use word pictures. Tell stories rich in metaphors and imagery. The most effective leaders understand that the power inherent in the descriptive or colorful language, and they use it to communicate complex information elegantly and in an emotionally appealing manner. The language of emotion tends to be more motivating and powerful than the language of logic. Effective leaders create vision stories. Stories that capture and communicate a compelling and specific description of what things will look and feel like when the future is achieved. Their stories are filled with sensory language. When we're speaking about this, we should speak about framing theory. When we compare two unlike things in a figure of speech, the comparison influences us on an unconscious level. A metaphor changes the way we think about a subject. It causes us to make a new association. Jesse Jackson stated, "America is not like a blanket. One piece of unbroken cloth, the same color, the same texture, the same size. America is more like a quilt. Many patches, many pieces, many sizes, and woven together by a common thread." We want to talk about repeat, repeat, repeat. The most effective leaders know that their ideas are fighting for attention. They must rely on restatement and repetition to get their ideas across. The most effective example of this tool is the speech delivered by Martin Luther King Jr. in 1963 at the Lincoln Memorial, the "I Have a Dream" speech. We use both I language and we language. I language finds the leader taking responsibility for the ownership of the message. The leader assumes the responsibility for his or her own thoughts, feelings, and actions. When the leader uses the we language to indicate both the subject is the concern and responsibility of both the leader and receivers. This builds a collaborative climate. Generate receiver involvement or participation. The speaker who creates an emotionally charged event captures our interest. When the receivers are able to connect with the leader, they are more likely to become involved. Emotionally charged and connected speeches that are still remembered today include Franklin Roosevelt, FDR, Declaration of War that followed the Pearl Harbor attack, John F. Kennedy's inaugural address, Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, and President Ronald Reagan's eulogy to the astronauts who died aboard the Challenger spacecraft. This is the end of the lecture for Chapter 7. This one's a little bit shorter. You have a lot of work to do this week, and we're going to be praying for you to do well on your midterm and the other assignments that you're submitting. Students, you have been doing a wonderful job of improving your writing skills and submitting scholarly work, and I want to tell you, I, for one, very much appreciate it. You have a wonderful week. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.